Definitely. I would say that it is worth checking out, that it's just because it's so not like anything I've seen before. And I think that that's where my appreciation of it comes. Bingo.
What is up? Drive-by Movies here, and you are watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And even though spooky season's kind of ending, it is ending. It's also Oscar season. We're not doing Christmas movies. Maybe we will. But we're checking out Emilia Perez today.
Emilia Perez. Emilia.
Emilia
Perez.
Emilia
Esto. Mingo.
Emilia Perez follows four remarkable women in Mexico, each pursuing their own happiness. Cartel leader Emilia enlists Rita, an unappreciated lawyer, to help fake her death so that she can finally live authentically as her true self. So this is a film I hadn't heard really anything about. I know it did premiere at Cannes, and Zoe Saldana did win the Best Actress award there. Also, it was brought to us by Jacqes Audiard, and he basically has done a bunch of films that we've reviewed over the years and films that we've really enjoyed. So it was kind of surprising to see a sleeper pick from him just appear, out of the blue here in November of 2024. James, what'd you think of Emilia Perez?
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out what to kind of squeeze into our schedule. And just when I heard Jacques made a new film, I mean, Sisters Brothers was his last film. I think that was his first English language film completely, if I'm not mistaken. But also had two French films, Rust and Bone and Dupont. Both fantastic movies. Those were like some of the best movies of those years respectively. And even though The Sisters Brothers, I remember not making my top 10, still a fantastic movie and kept me excited for his next project. So this kind of came out of nowhere, but I was so down when you watch it. But if I probably saw the trailer or knew more about the movie, I probably would have been less down for the movie, because this is not at all what I expected. However, I did enjoy the movie, but it's very convoluted. What are your thoughts coming out of it, though?
Yeah, I did not know that this was a musical going into it. I do like to go into movies blind. So yeah, like I didn't know it was going to be a musical, let alone like a musical with like a lot of, it's not diegetic music, but it's just like the very emotive musical where people are singing about their thoughts and feelings just randomly out of nowhere. And then there'll be scenes where there's, just normal filmmaking, and then it'll go into like a song made conversation. So yeah, I didn't really see that coming at all. I can't say that I hated that or anything. Like, I do like musicals. I think just the choice of music, obviously, it's like definitely more like Mexican style music and like a little bit more hip hop influence. I can't say that I was like a fan of that totally, but it was interesting to see something that I wasn't really, had any knowledge of or any appreciation of. And I thought that the film was very well done.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really well-made film, and the story is actually great. I was really invested by, how intense this movie is, despite it not really having any action sequences. Like, yeah, there's a action-packed climax towards the movie, but I'd say that kind of feels out of place, though. But just like, the intensity of just like, what the subject matter is, like dealing with the cartel and everything. That really like caught me off guard, just because not one of Jacques' films are really the same. Like, kind of there's always like a weird like action-esque like finale in all of his movies now that I think about it. But for the most part, that's never really like the aspect of his movies. A lot of his movies deal with like, real world characters dealing with whether it's like a sibling or, a relationship hardship. This movie kind of does the same thing with just like, going through a really messed up, fake, not actual divorce, but kind of a divorce. esque, and it really makes for a really interesting story, but just it kind of loses me with the action set pieces towards the end of the movie, where it just kind of felt out of place when. Well, also the musical stuff felt out of place, but it didn't necessarily bother me. That is kind of what makes this movie different per se, but unfortunately it didn't elevate it to where I think they were hoping for. So I'm not sure if it was always thought out to be a musical or not, but that really is kind of what just like makes this movie feel uneven. The climax and then just the musical element with the interesting plot, but just altogether doesn't feel right for me at the end of the day somehow.
Yeah, and I feel like that some of the musical set pieces were, you know, way more interesting, way more entertaining than others, and it definitely feels like there's a couple standouts there, but then some of the others, it just feels like they're kind of going through the motions, and it's not necessarily, you know, as impressive as I think the first musical number with Zoe Saldana, who I think was amazing in this movie, and her first musical moment is just something where there's like choreography with other actors, there's all this cleaning crew in the lawyer's offices or the courtroom, and yeah, I thought that was really cool, really impressive, and that's kind of where this musical starts taking shape. But then like later towards the end, it does feel like they're really going through the emotions when it's just like characters kind of singing to each other, and it's a less, you know, like a real choreographed kind of like big, larger than life musical. It feels, you know, a little bit more personal, obviously, but I just feel like that wasn't really the strong suit of, you know, musicals in general, but also this musical.
Right. Yeah. I think like if anything, it honestly just like feels like it's helping it get a Oscar nomination, or not Oscar, Golden Globe nomination, because it's technically it's not a comedy, but it's a musical technically, so you could nominate for that or drama. It works both ways for the Golden Globes. Not sure how it'll work for the Oscars. I'm not sure if they're still doing the 10 movie thing. I know that they said it's up to 10 movies, but lately it seems like they always go with like 8 or 9 movies each year. But this year, hopefully it gets to 10, because there's been so many great movies, but unfortunately, just this one isn't one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that it is worth checking out, that it's just because it's so not like anything I've seen before. And I think that that's where my appreciation of it comes through. But I will agree with you. I don't think it's like we've had so many strong movies this year. I don't think this is that strong of a one. I think that there's a lot of good performances here, especially from the 3 leads. Maybe Selena Gomez, not so much, but I didn't think she did a bad job though.
Right,
like,
I agree with that.
I know that she says like she wasn't proud of like her Spanish speaking in this film, and I didn't think it was the worst thing ever, but that's coming from a not a native Spanish, you know, speaker. So yeah, I would say like I wouldn't bag on her, but I'm sure other people have. So yeah, I think that this film, it was good. It's definitely a festival movie, and like we said, we're watching it outside of the festival experience, so it's gonna, you know, not be elevated by a 15-minute. I think there was like a 15-minute standing ovation at Cannes, maybe longer. I can't remember. It was long. I'm trying to see if I had it here. I swear I wrote it down, but I don't think I have it on my notes here. But it was on the trivia and IMDb. So
yeah, 15-minute ovation. You know. Is that just like, I always wonder, like, are the people just clapping the whole time during the credits, or was it actually just like a 15-minute, like the movie's over and yeah, we're gonna stand and cheer for 15 full minutes in a row?
I think it is. I think it is. I think it honestly is.
You gotta let us know if you've been to Cannes, like what it's like getting those ovations. Like, is it awkward? Is anyone just like, is it okay to sit down now? Is it like the national anthem at baseball games? Like for me, that's how I would feel at Cannes watching one of these movies in the standing ovation segments.
Yeah, I have to say I'm appreciative that Netflix picked this up, because I feel like this isn't really in their wheelhouse of like things that they're kind of interested in, and it's cool for us to be able to see, you know, one of those movies that we probably would have had to wait till maybe closer towards the Academy Awards, because this will probably get, you know, a foreign language nod, I would assume, but maybe it won't. I haven't really seen too many of the foreign films this year, so we'll see as that draws closer. But yeah, anyways, I'd say if you have Netflix and you're more interested in some of these obscure movies, definitely at least give this a shot.
Yeah. Just like it's weird because every Oscar season we kind of bring this up. Just like, this is the movie that you're gonna push. It's a fine movie. I do recommend checking it out. I enjoyed it, but just, you know, Netflix actually has had some better movies this year. So if this is what they're gonna push for Best Picture, like y'all slept on your own movie. Y'all had Rebel Ridge a month and a half ago and like kind of just dumped that and released the trailer for it like 3 weeks before it really came out. So it's like, that should have been the movie. I feel like y'all were trying to push for Best Picture, but you know, who am I to say? I'm just a guy who reviews movies on YouTube. You let us know what our thoughts were like on this movie, what your thoughts on the movie were. Leave a comment down below because that's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, catch all our social media links down below. We have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and our own personal letterbox accounts. That'll close this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.